All right. So, and then house rules. All right. As by the power vested in me by Toastmasters International and by my home club, Supreme Toastmasters Club, I now call this meeting to order. All right. So as we start, let me call Toastmaster Emeline back to the virtual podium or virtual stage to lead us with the opening prayer. Toastmaster Emeline.
Oh, nakamute ka, Emeline. Emeline, nakamute.
Okay, let's bow our heads and pray. Father God, as you gather us tonight, we just want to thank you for allowing us just to be together, just to be able to spend 2 hours together and just to really enjoy the camaraderie and the friendship. Help us just to really appreciate everything we have, that we can celebrate life together. And as we go through the evening, that we can just learn from one another and have a good learning attitude and keep on being the best version of us. Thank you for giving us this time and help us to really learn and be willing to be corrected if we need to be. And thank you for all the blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Now, next up is for the Pledge of Allegiance. So I will call Toastmaster Ariel. Can you read and lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
Okay. Let's raise our right hand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Philippines
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the Philippines
and to the country it represents,
and to the country it represents,
with honor, justice, and freedom,
with honor, justice, and freedom,
put in motion by one nation,
put in motion by one nation,
for God, for the people, for nature, and for the country.
for God, for the people, for nature, and for the country.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ariel. And usually after this, what I do is I acknowledge guests. But for tonight, I did not invite other guests or other Toastmasters from other clubs because I miss the opportunity of being all exclusively Supreme. And usually we allot this on the 3rd meeting of the month because I want to, usually before when we were in Supreme Toastmasters Club in Club Filipino, we usually meet. Sometimes there are only 5 to 7 to 8 or 8 of us, just like this. And in those moments, I was able to learn how to do multitasking, to accept roles at the last minute. And because of that, I felt like I was somehow trained, of course, with the help of my fellow Toastmasters. So usually I want to, and in other clubs as well, they only conduct 2 meetings twice each month. But for Supreme Toastmasters Club, Miss Baby, Toastmaster Baby, strongly urges everyone to have at least or to have 3 meetings each week. And as we have discussed, we dedicate 1 meeting with focusing on the core members of Supreme Toastmasters Club so that everyone can have can be given major roles or can be given roles that they can practice so that when during the meetings where we have big audience or larger attendance, we are more confident and prepared in carrying over our roles. So tonight, no acknowledgement of guests, but I'd like to acknowledge everyone who are present tonight. And thank you for taking the time, taking 2 hours of your time every Tuesday to attend our meeting. And I hope we are one in terms of our pursuit for self-improvement, career improvement, personal improvement, and also as a community and just spending time with people other than the people we spend at home. So thank you, and I hope we have a good time tonight. And now I'd like to proceed with the introduction of the Toastmaster of the evening. And our Toastmaster of the evening is one of my long-time friends And I believe she's one of my best friends as a nutritionist dietitian, my fellow nutritionist dietitian. Oh, touch. And we've been together since college. And as we started our journey into the outside world as young professionals, and eventually she went to Singapore, as she stated in her icebreaker speech, to pursue greener pastures, only to come back and pursue her passion in terms of our profession and in teaching as well. So without further ado, let's welcome one of the newest Supreme Toastmaster Club member and a budding excellent Toastmaster, Toastmaster Carmela Taub. Let's give her a warm round of applause.
Thank you so much, Madam President, for that warm introduction. Brought back memories. So good evening, pleasant evening, everyone, fellow Supreme Toast Masters. Tonight, we have a very exciting theme. It's Oktoberfest. So before we end October and say hello to November, we'll have this festivity. So this festivity is a long-time tradition of the Germans, which dates back to 1800 as a celebration of the union of royalty. This festivity is marked by massive consumption of alcoholic beverage, specifically beer. But tonight, we are not going to drown ourselves in beer. Instead, we are going to drown ourselves with learning from one another. So as usual, as the Toastmaster evening, I will direct this meeting with the guidance, of course, of our President Grace. So as usual, this meeting will have two parts before concluding with comments and announcements. And so without further ado, we'd like to start with the first part of the program to loosen up and warm up. I would like to call on Toastmaster Bluff for the Anything Goes.
Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I'm going to share my screen for a fun game, okay. All right. There's a prize. I'm going to provide a prize for this. Wait. Okay, wait. All right.
Insurance.
All right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you can.
The name of the game is Fastest
gosh.
Finger Game. Okay. How do we play it? The game is simple. Your job is to think of words that begin with the letter that I'm going to tell you and that fits the category in the game. But the game also ends soon once admits a correct response. Okay, so you need to think fast. Okay, so we are right now 6 in the room. 6 of you will play. And then you will type your answer in the chat box. Okay, and later I will check on the chat box kung sino yung whoever wins. Okay, so first, I'll show you an example. Okay,
Do we
example
chat to everyone?
Huh?
Chat to everyone or just you?
No, kayo you guys will be typing your answers in the chat box. Okay?
To everyone?
Whoever type first, complete and correct, names of whatever is being asked, that will be the winner. Example is letter A. A is name is Ana, place is Antipolo, animal it's alligator, thing it's airplane, and food it's apple. Okay? So now are you all ready? Are you all ready? Okay, now
I played this morning.
letter H, now go. Type letter H, name, place, animal, thing, and food. Where will I check the, are you done? I'm going to count 1 to 20, 1 to 10. 10.
Oh my gosh.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Oh my
2,
gosh.
1. Okay. So, again, I will check later kasi I cannot get out of the screen. Eh.
Ay,
I
di
cannot,
ba?
stop sharing and then check.
Spelling.
Later, I will check
Wow,
the first
5
one.
things ba? Akala ko isa lang.
No, all.
Letter
All
O.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Second letter. It's letter O. Name that starts with letter O, place, animal, thing, and food.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Name, place, animal, thing, and food. 10,
Oh my God,
9,
what's a thing?
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, letter M. Letter M. Name that starts with letter M. Place that starts with letter M. Animal that starts with letter M. Thing and food. Okay. So 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Okay, now the last letter. Letter G as in Gloria. Yan.
Oh my
Name,
God.
place, animal, thing, and food. So in that order, you're going to type your answer in the chat box. Okay, so letter G. Name, place, animal, thing, and food. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7,
Oh my God.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and the winner is. All right, let's look at the chat box and check who won.
I missed one.
Okay, wait ha.
Naglagay
All
ako ng
right, Carmela, Hannah, Hungary, hippopotamus, hunger, and hamburger. Wow, winner. Winner.
Wow,
1
so?
point for Carmela. Okay?
Carmela.
Oo, si Carmela was the first one to complete. Okay? Now, the second one is letter O. All right. Letter O,
My God,
sinong
wala.
kompleto? Oropesa, Orlando, Kulang. It's lacking, okay? The other one also, it's also lacking. Okay, Carmela again. Omar,
I missed one.
oxtail soup, and Mela. What's Mela? Mela is the
The wrong one. I missed one. I don't have a thing.
Okay. So Grace, Maria, Manila, Manok, Mesa.
Ako din, nagtagalog ako.
Okay, so the second one was won by Grace. Okay, now the third one. Teka muna. Si ano ba? Manny, Mosuka, Manila, Manny. Parang mas, I felt that Flo's answer is kumbaga better than what Grace wrote. Okay? Kasi may manok siya, may mesa. Okay?
Naubusan ng English.
1 point. Okay.
Pero hindi mo naman sinabing English eh. Di ba? Naku naman.
English, we're supposed to be in the Toastmaster.
Toastmaster daw tayo,
meeting.
baby.
Okay. Letter G.
Breaking all rules.
Flo, Georgia, goes garbage. Gudon. Very good, Carmela. 2 points.
Ang
Okay.
daya naman ni
and-
Carmela. Mukhang nag-practice ah.
Okay. Carmela, I will send you 1 box of noodles. Okay.
Wow!
Address. I'll send it to you tomorrow.
Wow.
Okay. And the winner is Carmela Tao.
Yay!
Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Galing.
Yan.
Similar
Okay.
game this morning.
How did you do that?
Which one?
Hindi, nag-practice ko siya nito this morning.
Ano,
Did you practice?
students.
The same game.
No one facilitated the
You want
game.
another game? I have another game, you know.
Oh!
You want, but but I think let's continue with the meeting.
Ako nga sa G, nilagay ko gamit. From lack of better word to use.
Okay.
Ang bilis naman.
Alright.
Reserve that game, Miss Glo, on the your next role as the game master.
Okay, dokie.
So much for that fun and rewarding anything goes game, Miss Glo, Toastmaster Glo. Now we'll head on to Toastmaster Baby for another informative educational talk. Over to you,
Word for the day.
baby.
Di ba meron? Ostentatious.
Oh, the word for today will be the grammarian. Is it going to be Miss Emmeline?
Emily.
Word of the day.
Yes.
By the way, word of the day should be ahead of anything goes.
Okay.
Ano ba tayo?
It's Miss Emily here. I will share
Miss
the screen.
Emily.
Okay. Our word for the day, ostentatious. Okay, it means attracting or seeking to attract attention, admiration, or envy, often by gaudiness or obviousness. Synonym, showy, pretentious. Books that people buy and display ostentatiously but never actually finish. Okay, so tonight let's use the word ostentatious as much as we can to learn more how we can learn new word and practice and put it into application.
Right. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Emmeline, for that word of the day. So now we'll head on to our educational talk to be given by Toastmaster Baby. Over to you, Toastmaster Baby.
Excuse me, we have to use it in a sentence and then you call for people to use it in a sentence.
Okay.
So, Toastmaster Emmeline, you would like to call someone to use that word in a sentence?
Okay, so maybe we can call on Miss, it's just a few of us, so maybe can I call on Miss Gloria Cow? The ostentatious.
Okay. All right. Ostentatious. People avoid to talk to Nora because of her ostentatious words. Ostentatious choice of words.
Okay,
Tama ba?
very
Am I right? Am I right in
Yes,
using that?
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Can we call on somebody else to use the word ostentatious? How about Miss Flo? Hua?
Ostentatious. So, I am not impressed by her ostentatious way of presenting herself.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, goes back to you, Toastmasters of the night.
Thank you, Toastmaster Emmeline, for that word of the night. Now let's head on to Toastmaster Baby for informative educational talk. Over to you, Toastmaster Baby.
Thank you, Carmela. My talk tonight is about evaluation. So the 3 R's of evaluating: review, reward, and respond. Evaluations are the lifeblood of every Toastmasters meeting. New speakers depend on them for information, help, and development. Long-standing speakers need them to prevent the onset of mental rust and complacency. Evaluation is the act of considering or examining something in order to judge its value, quality, importance, and condition. So if you're the evaluator, find value in the speech. The evaluator must add value by offering help, support, and guidance to the speaker. Do not use the C word or criticism. It is very negative. Toastmaster evaluators should not criticize, even to critique, a term used by non-Toastmasters. Being a critical analysis almost sounds like a put down. Examine the quality of its delivery, consider its importance to the occasion and audience, and reflect upon its condition as part of the speaker's development progression. So, four things: value, quality, importance, or condition. Procedure in evaluating. For each speech project, the speaker must meet specific objectives and guidelines. Normally, it is mentioned during the SOTEM. The evaluator must use these to formulate a report. The verbal evaluation is a mini speech in itself. So in 2 to 3 minutes, create an opening, a main body, and a conclusion. In delivering your speech, in delivering your comments, choose appropriate language, voice tone, body language, and facial expression. Find words of praise for the good elements and words of help and encouragement in areas that need improvement. Say this in a non-threatening and supportive way. Remember, in speech contests, the style is not everything. It is still the kiss, kick, and kiss. Now, you will ask me, what is kiss, kick, and kiss? Remember that in evaluating, you give first maybe 2 points to praise the person, the speaker, and then kick is your recommendation to improve his or her speech. And the last one is the kiss or KKK. Remember to use the 3 R's in evaluating: review, reward, and respond. So review. Give the best review you can. Consider the speaker's personal goals and the Toastmaster evaluation guide. Here is the question to ask. Did the speaker accomplish what she is set out to do, meaning the objectives and the goals? If she or he did, publicly acknowledge the fact. If doubtful, comment on your written evaluation or discuss privately with the speaker. If the speaker agrees that she did not achieve her purpose, she may elect to repeat the project, though this is not required by Toastmasters. Another one is help her make modifications on her current speech or to prepare her for her next presentation. This is for the review. Reward. Richly praise the aspects that were particularly good in the speech. Use words like exemplary, outstanding, effective, admirable, praiseworthy, pleasing, beneficial. Avoid overuse of vague generalizations or generalities, such as good, very good, excellent. Explain why it was worthy of note, show how, and provide examples. Now, the third one is respond. As the evaluator, it is your role to respond to the speaker's message. Do not challenge what was said, but through an analysis of 3 items to look for: what you heard, what you saw, and what you felt. So what you heard: words used, descriptive and evocative language. Did the speaker use fillers, repeated words like but and so, etc.? Were there grammatical goodies or figures of speech like hyperbole, alliteration, and rhyming? And then what you saw. These are effective gestures, appropriate body language, facial expression, eye contact, and did he or she deliver it for in the duration of the allotted time. And then what you felt. These are the emotions felt, images in your mind. By using descriptive words also, somehow you figure that you are there in that particular occasion or scenery. And then you are moved by action, you empathize. Did you experience sadness, anger, fright, or excitement? Remember that the evaluation is your personal opinion. As long as your comments are given in a helpful and supportive manner, the speaker will accept your opinion. Toastmasters develop into effective public speakers through a combination of practice and evaluation. It is imperative to pass on the correct skills for our art to thrive. Using the techniques of reviewing, rewarding, and responding will ensure that our speeches continue to improve and that every evaluation adds value. So again, remember the 3 R's: review, reward, and respond. And I'd like to repeat that in speech contests, the style is not everything. It is still the kiss, kick, and kiss. So praises, recommendation, and back to praises. So good evening to all of you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Baby, for informative educational talk. So I have here what I heard, what I saw, what I felt. Just 3 things, and then the 3 R's. Simple yet concise information for us. The time comes that we're given the role of an evaluator. So now we'll head on to our the exciting part of our program. Let me call on our table topics master, Toastmaster Ariel, to facilitate the table topics.
Okay. Good evening, ladies, and we have another Bradford cow. We have Bradford cow. Are you there, Brad? Not yet. Okay. For this tabletop topics, this is our long-standing tradition for TM, and also it's picture in impromptu, and you will express your thoughts in 1 to 2 minutes, and also with this table topics, our topic for tonight will be related to the Oktoberfest. So I searched for quotes with humor, and I will call someone to say something about the quote I will say. Okay? So the time allotted for the speaker is 2 minutes. We have green after 1 minute. We have yellow, 1.5 minutes, and also 2 minutes will be the red mark. And we have grace period of 30 seconds. And for these table topics, we will use the speech patterns like prep, the point, reason, example, and point, or we can end with a message and also with a summary. And also we can use the SMG, not the bet scene. It's the story, message, and game. Yeah. And IDA, attention, interest, desire, and call to action. Also, we need to put on remember the before, during, and after, or past, present, future, or the triads, the power of trees on our points. And table topics evaluation will be evaluated by the structure, the confidence of the speaker, vocal variety, eye contact, and also body language, the humor, descriptive language, pace, and process, sincerity, relevance to the theme, and time. Okay, so for the first quote that I will want to say is I want to call on Miss Emmeline. Hi, Miss Emmeline.
Hello, Ariel.
Okay, so for the Oktoberfest, some drunkards are usually thinking of the drinking as their support group. So I have this quote that it says, to some, it's six pack. To me, it's support group. Can you tell me something about that, Miss Emmeline? Why they are telling that?
Okay. For some, it's six pack.
To
For
me,
some,
it's
it's
support
support.
group.
A lot of people today are under a lot of stress. And for them to cope up with stress, what do? They turn into liquor and drinking. For them, it's a way for them to unwind. It's a way for them to get relaxed and just to be able to, for temporarily remove some of the troubles and worries in their lives. And a lot of people find it a way to just have fun and to be out of themselves. I know some people after work, they cannot go home because they feel so much burdened and they just want to hang out and just party. But for me, I think the best way to unwind is to go back to reading and to really learn from the Bible what is good way to unwind, because sometimes people, they get into wild streaks, and what happens is something worse. They go into drunk driving, and they go into doing some crazy one night stands, and they would regret it for the rest of their life. So for me, I don't think it's a way to relax. It's not a way to support, because it's just a temporary fix. And I think the best way is to go back to your creator and find comfort, encouragement, and relaxation. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Amen to that, Miss Emmeline. And also, yeah, some people turn their ways from being a good guy and then became alcoholic. But hope this turning to God and going back to our Bible can make them go back, turn around 180 degrees, and be good again. And then for my next, thank you, Miss Emmeline, and for next quote that I will say, I want to call on Flo. Hey, Flo. Good evening. So some the drunkards or those who love to drink is just they just met someone and then they have broken hearted. They got broken hearted. So my next quote will be, this is there's some humor in this. A woman drove me to drink and I didn't even have the decency to thank her. Okay, means that someone it's uh, fell in love and got heartbroken. So Flo, can you tell tell me or detail on to this? What do you think about this quote?
I'll read it first again. A woman drove me to drink, and I didn't even have the decency to thank her. Okay. So, Toastmaster Ariel, thank you for that quote. I've never been heartbroken in my life, so I don't know. But I but I can imagine for a guy to have that heartbreak. I remember my friend. I have a friend who had his heart broken by his longtime girlfriend. And what happened was he didn't understand why the girl broke with him. He was already, I think, 5 years into the relationship. And one of the things that my friends, my office mates did was to sit down and drink with him. So, and it was comforting to have that drink, to watch to watch One More Chance together with guy friends and drink. Although there's no woman there, but there is there is a comfort to releasing that pain and having alcohol to be your companion in that pain, and to have someone to push it to you is uh and to encourage you to release that pain will be will be something that is important. And while sometimes we forget to be thankful for that, it is um um yeah, it happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Flo. Hope that your friend has already uh, his heart is meddled, or it's put he's in love again, and hope he didn't go to the way of being a drunkard just because of that manner
But
one.
my friend is happily married now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sabi niya, kung hindi kayo, hindi kayo. That's that's what he said.
That is our gem for tonight.
Although for that time being, he thought that person was his forever. Yeah.
Okay. So, kung hindi kayo, hindi kayo. Okay. Next. Thank you, Flo. For the next is more on some people go drinking because they just want company, not because they want support group or they fell in love and got broken. They just want to have company, or just want to drink. And I want to call on Miss Gloria for this. So our quote will be, the best beers are the ones we drink with friends. Again, the best beers are the ones we drink with friends. Miss Glo, you're on mute.
Friends. All right. One of the most important thing that we should have are friends. And what you said was right. The best, what is it again,
The
Ariel?
best beers are the ones we
The
drink with
best
friends.
years are the ones that spent with friends, right? So friends are really important because in life, if you don't have friends, that is tantamount of living lonely, living alone. So you really need friends for you to grow, for you to see all the perspective in life, because true friends will tell you what are the things that you have to put it in the right perspective. And if that is really a friend, he will really tell you and advise you the correct way of understanding or the correct perspective of a certain thing. So for me, friends are really very, very important, because without friends, what is life? Life will be lonely, and life will not be fun, because friends are people that will really love you and stay with you for the rest of your life. So that's it. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Ariel.
Thank you, Miss Glo, for that. So hope that we can have friends forever that will help us on our hard times and celebrate with us on our
Yes.
good times.
Yes.
And for last, we have some people who drink loves to have wisdom and freedom. That's because they not because they want company. They want wisdom that other people can share to them. Just like the other day, uh, we're cooking balot, and my my brother tells me told me that to cook balot it should be very dry. You know, if the balot is dry, if it is very dry when you put it out on the water. So that is what he learned from our neighbor in their drinking party. So this quote, Grace, can you tell me about this, or can you tell something about this quote? In wine, there is wisdom. In beer, there is freedom. In water, there is bacteria. Again, in wine, there is wisdom. In beer, there is freedom. And in water, there is bacteria.
Okay. There are three beverages that were mentioned in that quote: wine, beer, and water. I agree that with wine, there is wisdom, because when we drink wine, we usually drink it with friends or family, and sometimes with ourselves. And oftentimes, when we dine with our family with wine or with ourselves, usually it comes with something special, maybe an occasion or something, a practice of self-love. And whenever we spend time with our family during occasion, we learn from them. Or when we spend time with ourselves with a glass of wine, we learn something about ourselves. Now, I agree with that. And beer, you say there is freedom. And yes, I agree with that, because oftentimes people drink beer to relax themselves. You know, the alcohol sometimes make us feel warm, and sometimes we say or do things that we don't normally say or do. So yes, with beer, there is freedom. Does water always go along with bacteria? I don't think so, because not all water contain bacteria, and usually the water that is stagnant usually is the one that harbors bacteria. And the water that flows, usually in rivers, or usually that is used, is the one that usually is free from bacteria. So fellow Toastmasters, I encourage you to keep moving, keep flowing, so that you won't harbor any bacteria in your life. Good evening.
Thank you, Grace, Toastmaster Grace, for that. So with that, we will keep moving and flowing, like you said. And to cap this table topics, I have one more uh, quote, and this goes here goes. Here's to alcohol, the cause of and solution to all life's problems. So sometimes people think this is the solution, but others thinks this is the cause of the solution. But with this, we should think more carefully and how to use this beverage along with our Oktoberfest. So please message for the best table topic. Should it be grace and the water, Miss Glo, Miss Emmeline, or sorry, yeah, or it should be Flo. So Glo, Flo, Miss Emmeline, or Grace. Please message me. Back to you, Miss Toastmaster of the evening, Carmela Tao.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yell. Cheers to that. Humorous quotable quotes. Are those your original quote?
I found it in the
I
internet.
particularly,
Yeah.
I think you came up with those while under the influence. I particularly enjoyed the last one. It's something that someone who, it's a quote that someone who is so fond of justifying their drinking ways would say. All right, so now the next part of our meeting, we'll have one prepared speech for today. Yeah. So we have one prepared speech for today. So we have Toastmaster Flo with her prepared speech entitled Putting Yourself in Your Shoes. This is her speech project for the Leadership Development Level 1, Project 2, Evaluation and Feedback. The objectives of the speech is for the member to demonstrate that she has applied the feedback received from her first speech. So the time allotted for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes. The evaluator is Toastmaster Brad. Toastmaster Brad, I hope that you're here. Again, the speaker for this speech, Putting Yourself in Your Shoes, Toastmaster Florence. Over to you. Toastmaster Florence. Flo, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Is Brad here? Hi, Brad. Okay.
So,
And so good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Tonight I will be sharing my speech, Putting Yourself in Your Shoes. So this is part of the evaluation for my previous speech on getting to yes. I One of the comments was to put it to cut it up. So this is the first part of that speech. So put yourself in your shoes. So one of the important things we must do is to put ourselves in our shoes. We always hear of how important it is in empathizing to others, that we put put ourselves in their shoes. So but to for us to lessen the conflict, one of the first things we must first do is actually to put ourselves in our shoes. What does this mean? This means that it is important that we know and identify what we need. So nobody can understand ourselves better except ourselves. So we must put in the time to understand ourselves. We're lucky in this generation because we actually have a lot of literature. Part of that is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It tells us the importance of physiological needs, safety needs, and so on. The previous generation before us didn't have that. So sometimes what happens is we enter uh, into conflicts, and when push comes to shove, we are asked what is important to us. Sometimes we don't even know it. Uh, Sometimes we say, I want independence. But truth to be told, what you're asking is not what you're asking in return doesn't give you that independence. So uh, here clearly we can see that there's actually conflict, and um, we cannot fix it easily because it is not aligned in many ways. So another example would be like if you were asked what is important to you, and for example you chose to lie on your answer. I say I I want to be I want to be number one, but that's not actually true. So you want what's more important for you is actually a harmonic relationship to everyone. Then even if that someone would give you the number one seat, you will not appreciate it and you will feel discontented all the way. So that is actually the importance of identifying what you really need, because nobody can understand you as well as you should. You can and you should. So how do we do this? To break it down, what one can do is to see yourself from the balcony. So what does this mean? This is actually inviting us to be inner scientists ourselves. So what we do is we can actually see ourselves having those reactions that normally reoccur. So example, I get angry with my mom again, or I get frustrated with my brother again. So you can actually even before that actual feeling comes out, you can actually feel those chemical reactions in yourselves, that you can see that, oh, I'm getting angry. You can actually see that I'm building up to getting angry. I'm building up to seeing unwanted things. I'm building dissatisfaction. So here, the challenge is actually to observe ourselves without really evaluating. Without evaluating. So that's one of the things that was shared in this book, Getting to Yes, that self-observation is actually one of the foundation of self-mastery. I remember my old boss, my old mentor, when I was in my early 20s. One of the first things that was taught to me was actually uh, when you go to work, I was a marketer. One of the things that was asked for me as a junior person was actually to just observe. You when you enter the meeting, what they said was you have to have all your notes ready, you have to do your homework, but when you go to the meeting, you just need to listen, to observe, and you will actually know what is really important for everyone. So likewise, so it was taught to me that to listen to others, what's their motivation, but it's really just lately that I learned you you can actually observe yourself as well. And sometimes how you understand yourself, how do you view yourself is actually not the whole picture, and others can see it better until you learn that point that you know how to observe yourself and to catch your unwanted emotions beforehand before it breaks anything. Okay. So the next part. So after learning to see yourself and observe, uh, what is the next thing to do? Listen to yourself with empathy. So, in as much as my friend was lucky, to connect it to my earlier to my earlier story, my friend was lucky that he had friends who, when he had a heartache, what they did was to say, let's have drinks. Let's pour your suffering away. And just to cry it out. You're lucky to have, and to Miss Glow's to story, friendship is important. So we're actually lucky if at any point in time when we have our troubles, we have friends along the way. But sometimes we also need to empathize with ourselves. So it's actually an option to do, to empathize with ourselves. So your own sufferings, you take responsibility of taking care of your emotions, to listen to yourself, like especially for the things that maybe you don't want about yourself. But we're human, we are not perfect, so sometimes we are selfish, um we are envious, we want ourselves to be the biggest star in the room. But we can admit that to ourselves, and we can empathize ourselves, and we can actually talk to ourselves and say that you are not the if you make yourself the most important person in the room, what will happen is there will be chaos, and you will not be able to take care of others, for example. So here, to listen with empathy with ourselves, we are able to free our minds from the push and pull of the chaos before entering negotiation with others. So if we are able to put ourselves in a safe space, in a peaceful state, we are able to negotiate. We put ourselves in a position to better negotiate with others, because our emotional needs are already taken care of. So everyone, this is putting yourself in your shoes. The first step in getting to yes with yourself. Thank you.
A round of virtual applause to our speaker, Toastmaster Flo. There are two things that really got me. So that's self-awareness and kindness to self. This is actually emotional quotient, the skills that the 21st century is emphasizing on. It's no longer just intellectual quotient, but emotional quotient. So thank you for sharing with us the importance and the value of listening to ourselves and being empathic to ourselves. Thank you, Toastmaster Flo. So now we are part of our program, equally important. It's now time for us to listen to our general evaluator, how well we did during this meeting. May I call on our President, President Grace Panal, to give us your insights on tonight's Toastmaster meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carmela. As the general evaluator for tonight, it is my task to organize the evaluations and share with you how we can improve better, because all of us are here to improve ourselves in terms of communication and leadership. And being a Toastmaster, part of being a leader is being open to suggestions for improvement. After all, we're here to learn and we're here to improve. But at the same time, it's up to us to distill those information or evaluations that were given to us and determine which applies best in our scenarios or in our setting. So to start with the evaluations, it's very fitting that Toastmaster Baby started our meeting a while ago with an educational talk about evaluations, because evaluations really is the lifeblood. It can make or break a Toastmaster. And it always have to have an equal balance of commendations and recommendations. And to start with the evaluations part of our meeting, let me call Toastmaster Baby for the evaluation of the table topics speeches a while ago. So Toastmaster Baby, take it away.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Good evening, Emmeline. May I request Ariel to give us the quote again?
For Miss Emeline, it's
The first one.
to some it's six pack, to me it's support group.
Okay. So, Emmeline, you started your speech with a lot of people you go to drink to liquor as a way of spending your time with people, and you had a very logically sequenced body of your speech. You talked about ways and means of finding the best way to while away time. You also had a good call for action when you said that the best way to unwind is to read the Bible and all this. I liked it when you said use the two words, temporary fix. You are confident and you had the three elements of a good table topics: opening, body, and conclusion. You are confident, you have a good command of the English language. If there's anything that I would like you to improve on is vocal variety. You have a good command of the English language, but use the technical qualities of voice, like when you have to emphasize something is to make it louder or make it softer. And then you could also the loud and soft and the loud and soft and the fast and slow. So you expounded on the topic very well, and I liked most your conclusion and call for action when you said the best way to find is to unwind. Way to unwind is reading, and of course one of your examples is the Bible. So congratulations, Emmeline. Now, good evening, Flo. Flo, I liked your first statement when you said, I've never been heartbroken, which for me was a funny statement of fact. And I liked it because you gave an example, a story of a 5-year relationship, and you were able to expound on the topic well. And you also, you gave, aside from giving the example, you, I see the confidence in you comparing it to the first times I heard you do your table topics. And also, you had a good ending when you said that of course I also liked it because you had an addendum to your speech when you said kung hindi kayo parang hindi kayo but that wasn't part of the first 2 minutes already, but you spoke a lot, you gave lots of examples, and you even said that alcohol could be a good a companion. But what is most pleasing about you is that you have regained your confidence comparing it to the first time I've ever heard you speak. And you already have the confidence, you have a good command of the English language. Just like the first speaker, I would suggest that you use vocal variety. And I saw that you had also gestures, which is good. You are definitely more confident now. That's one of the best assets that we have gotten from Toastmasters. So let's give a round of applause for Glo. Congratulations. For Flo. Now, good evening, Glo. Yeah, good evening, Glo.
Hi, good evening, baby.
Yes.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Ariel, can you read the statement again for Glo? The best years are the ones that you...
You're muted, Ariel.
The best beers are the ones we drink with friends. The best beers.
I thought years.
Yes. The best beers are those that you drink with friends. Anyway, you were able to expound. They say that in table topics, do whatever you want. Okay, so me also, I heard years, so I wanted him to repeat it. Anyway, you talked about friends, and you said that one of the most important thing in life is to spend your best years with friends. You expounded on the topic very well. In fact, you elaborated on friendship very well. And then you had a call for action. You said, uh, friends are what is the best in life. You said something like that. I like your gestures. You're already so confident. You had a lot of all hand gestures, and you had emotion. You were talking with a lot of emotion. If there's one thing that I'd like you to improve on is, first of all, to remind, including Flo, that to end your speech, it is not advisable to end it with a thank you. In Toastmasters, we recommend not saying thank you to end your speech. So Glo, congratulations. That was full of emotion. And of course, you made us listen. Let's give Glo a round of applause. Now, Grace, good evening. You started your speech with there are 3 beverages, a statement of fact, because the quotation was with regard to wine, beer, and water. You expounded on it very well. You had gestures, and your call for action was keep moving and not to. This is going to be my writing. To keep moving,
So that you won't get bacteria.
so that you will not get bacteria in your life. Yes.
You won't be stagnant and get.
I was just thinking, this is such a very complicated statement. When you actually, Grace, congratulations, because you expounded on the topic well. Wherever it went, you were able to say something about wine, beer, and water. And
Don't be stagnant.
I like your ending when you said you better not be stagnant so that you will not have bacteria in your life. And for me, that was even a humorous closing. So you also had gestures, and congratulations. I know it was, all these topics are kind of difficult to expound on, but all of you, congratulations, did very well. Somehow you talked about things, and these things are things that we remember. So congratulations to the 4 of you, to Emmeline, to Flo, to Glo, and to Grace. Good evening to all of you.
Thank you, Toastmaster baby. I believe these topics shared by Ariel are best talked about when we are actually drinking with our friends with beer and pulutan. And usually, I believe a lot of friends, when we get drunk somehow, we tend to get better in terms of impromptu speaking. We tend to say things that we don't normally say when we are sober.
Can I say something?
Yes, Miss
These
Baby.
quotes are really for men, not for women. Ariel talaga. Yes, the truth of the matter is this is more appropriate for men.
Yes, Miss Baby, it's appropriate for men, but women stand up, rise up to the challenge. So
Yeah.
well done on the women who
Yes.
stood up to Ariel's challenge for tonight. And with that, I'd like first to give my evaluations for Toastmaster Babies evaluations. First up is I always admire Toastmaster Babies evaluations because she's very comprehensive. She sticks to the guidelines, to our guidelines when it comes to evaluations, the vocal variety, the sincerity, the use of descriptive language, everything that's being posted during the introduction of the table topics. So that's a good way. That's actually a very comprehensive way, and we need that, especially for new Toastmasters, because that's one of our ways to remind us what are the rudiments or what are the basics that should be contained in our speeches. So well done, Toastmaster Baby. Now, my recommendation, Toastmaster Baby, is to be more specific when it comes to giving evaluations. For example, when you said, I like your speech because I like your speech. So that's a general statement, but you made it specific because you said, I like it because it's funny. So it's a bit more specific. What can be done to make it even more specific or hyper specific is you explain why is it funny for you, so that we could understand what makes a statement or what makes a joke funny. Because in my case, I find it difficult to crack a joke in front of an audience. So that's one. And also, another recommendation for you, Toastmaster Baby, is whenever you give recommendations, for example, to improve vocal variety, it's good that you mention the examples or ways that we can improve vocal variety. For example, we can make our voices louder or softer. What we can do better, or what you can do better, Toastmaster Baby, what I can suggest is that perhaps you can use an example, a sample statement. For example, you read a certain statement and read it in a way that it shows how vocal variety is exhibited. So that's just my my suggestion, Toastmaster Baby, in your future stint as an evaluator, as a table topics evaluator. And also lastly, what I would like to expound on when Toastmaster Miss Baby mentioned that we do not say thank you at the end of our speech. I just want to remind that the reason why we do not want to say thank you is because our goal is for the audience to say thank you to us, not us saying thank you to the audience. So to be able to do that, we have to give speeches that are valuable to our audience so that we could feel their sense of appreciation, and they will be the ones to thank us, not us thanking them for spending time listening to your speech. All right? Overall, Toastmaster Baby, thank you that you listened intently and you listened well to our speeches, which means that you are taking your role well as an evaluator, and you took your role well because you care about how we can improve in terms of our impromptu speaking skills. So thank you, Toastmaster Baby.
Thank you, Grace.
And now I'd like to give my evaluations as well to our table topics master for tonight, Toastmaster Ariel. So I have observed that the humor in you is coming out slowly. Miss Baby was not wrong when she said that I think Toastmaster Ariel has a sense of humor, and somehow with practice and somehow you're lightening up to this platform, to the Toastmaster meeting, and somehow through you, your humorous you is coming out. So well done on that. And what I can suggest, Toastmaster Ariel, in your future stint as a table topics master, or even in your speeches, is one is your body language. And when I say body language is that you have certain mannerisms. For example, when you're doing like this, it can be distracting to other people. And also this is I think this is a closed gesture. So whenever we have a close gesture, like arms wrapped around like this, anything that's close like this or this, it make us look unapproachable somehow. So whenever we do open gestures like this one, it makes us more vulnerable, but at the same time, it makes us more open. It makes us look more, seem more open to the audience. So Toastmaster Ariel, what I can recommend is to limit the closed gestures like that, and then be more open to open gestures. So open body language. Usually, if we are in an actual stage, we would suggest that you use wide gestures because it shows confidence. Wide open gestures because it shows confidence rather than closed and confined gestures. All right? And Toastmaster Ariel, you organize well the table topics portion because you had great introduction. You have read well all the guidelines to the table topics, but you added your own flavor. When, for example, when you said vocal variety, so you added your own flavor in that. You didn't just read the guidelines, but you added your personality. So good job on that. And also, I appreciate your transition statements in between. It's very important for us to be able to have a table topics run smoothly is to have a transition statement and an ending statement. So good job. And let's give table topics master Ariel and table topics evaluator Toastmaster Baby a big round of applause. And one more thing before we head to the table topics, to evaluation of Toastmaster Florence, I'll take this opportunity to share with you just a few tips on how to answer a table topics that I've learned from attending one Toastmaster club. One is to take advantage of the 10 seconds thinking time. So before answering a table topics question, we actually have 10 seconds to think about our thoughts, to compose our thoughts. So I think I did that a while ago, but I think I went beyond 10 seconds. So don't do that, just 10 seconds. And then second tip is, as you are composing your thoughts, think of one word. Think of one word that would serve as the central theme of what you are going to say, because it makes your speech more concise and and it makes your speech clearer as well. So just one word. And then after that, you just expound your speech using that one word that you choose. So you can revert back to the table topics, for example, story, message, gain. So if, for example, in what I did a while ago, I was presented with a long sentence. So I used 3 words. So I used those 3 words and then just expounded on those 3 words. So just a few tips that I've learned from visiting other clubs as well. All right. Now, moving on to our evaluations, I would now like to call Toastmaster Brad for the evaluation of Toastmaster Florence. Toastmaster Brad, take it away.
Yes. So when I actually first heard of the title of your speech, put ourselves in other shoes, it actually made me look back to the time wherein I was starting out to be in Toastmasters. Actually, coincidentally, around this time last year, it actually made me reminisce of how far that I was able to go, and really now that I'm able to relate and sympathize with other speakers, especially both starting out and great ones, because I acknowledge the effort and the time that it takes. So Toastmaster Flow, you've given us a framework of how to better relate and communicate with other people through a book, right? Which is how to get you to say yes, from what I remember. So this is in compliance with the speech project. This your main critical comments is that it's too long, it's too many details, and it's overtime. And from this present and spectating your previous speech from this one, I can already tell you that you were able to at the very least alleviate the goals of these points, because not only were you within time, you also
I think we lost. Brad, are you there?
Naghang siya.
Brad, are you still there? Toastmaster Brad.
I think naghang siya.
Okay.
Okay. So comparing your speech from the previous one, where it was too long and details and over, I already felt like you already had a stark improvement, wherein you were able to focus on key points and able to compose a better presentation overall. So congratulations, Toastmaster Flo, for that. So those points were towards the content or the content of your speech. So now I would like to give you points of evaluation regarding the how you communicate these points. So first of all, I felt like you move too much. So this what the main points are like your eyes, your head, and your eyes, your hand, and your hands. So I felt like they were to the point wherein they were distracting because I felt like you were looking through you were constantly changing directions such that I wasn't really able to see you directly into the camera. So ideally in an online setup, you want to look at the camera as much as possible because that's the best way of looking the equivalent of looking a person in real life. And yes, so that's very important because that's a way of establishing a connection with your participants. So I think one tip that I can already give you right off the bat is to improve your camera angle, because if your camera angle is kind of focused like that, and then the speed that your hands, I feel like it was too compressed. So maybe if you improve the angle, the way that you move your hands will already improve right at the get-go. And my second point would be that I wasn't really sure regarding the logical structure of your speech. What I mean by this is that I felt, coming from someone who spectated your speech the other week, I kind of had an idea of what you were talking about. I knew I had an expectation, but then when I heard your speech, I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really clear cut regarding where does the introduction end, where does the first point end, where does the second point end, and I feel like the reason why I wasn't able to distinguish the points such that I actually don't even know what the key 3 points are. I've only written here observe starting to understand yourself, and listen with empathy. So there's the only two. I wasn't able to capture all three. Yeah. So I hope that you would be able to put in more differences. So the dynamic could be either physical, wherein, well, like you demonstrated physically that you're moving to another point, or you change your tonality, that you make it more upbeat, or you do something different, because I felt like I wasn't really able to distinguish whether at what segment of the speech you were, and consequently that affected how I was able to interpret it. But the really thing that's what's core to you, what I really appreciate, is the sincerity. So I can really tell that regarding your tonality, that you give this advice to someone who you really want to take care of, you want them to improve. And after listening to your speech, I'm able to say that I was able to better relate and communicate with other people. So I hope that not only Toastmaster Flow here, but each and every one of you would be able to take some of the key concepts that I was able to bring to see today, so that not only would you be able to become a better public speaker, so that you would be also able to better comprehend, communicate, and most importantly, empathize with other people. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Flo, for that wonderful speech, and I'm looking forward for your succeeding one.
Wow. Well done, Toastmaster Brad. Now, I would like to give my evaluations of Toastmaster Brad's evaluation. First up is Brad, the basics of evaluation is, as what Toastmaster Baby mentioned a while ago, is the 3K: kiss, kick, and kiss, where we give our commendations, and then recommendations, and lastly with a motivational talk or another recommendation or praise. And that all those rudiments of the evaluations were done by Toastmaster Brad. But one thing that made Toastmaster Brad's evaluation one more notch better is that he also intertwined the KKK method with what we call the COD method, which means the content. He evaluated the content. Wherein, does it have a compelling content? Was it informative? Does it have, and then next is, he evaluated it using the O, or organization. Is it organized? Does it have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion? Does it have transitions in between that would allow us to follow flow speech smoothly? So that's for the organization. And lastly is for the delivery. So in the COD method, he also gave his inputs on how Toastmaster Flo delivered his speech. And he mentioned about camera angle. I think that's one of also the comments the last time, Toastmaster Flo, is to improve the camera angle. So can you try moving the camera? That's better. So one way is to make sure that we have the right angle is your chin should be on the same level as the little camera dot. So right now, my chin is on the same level as my camera. So that's one way of checking that we have the right camera angle. Not too low, wherein it's like this. So Toastmaster Flo, I think your angle is a bit like this. This is something that I would personally avoid because it's very unflattering. And also when your angle is like this, when you give gestures, all we can see is your hands and we cannot see much of your face or your facial expressions. So this one is not a very flattering angle. And this one is not a flattering angle as well. So make sure that before we start the meeting, make sure that we find our best camera angle, like a reporter, so that we can look better in front of the camera, because we don't just deliver speeches but based on the content, but we also deliver speeches based on our mannerisms, based on our hand gestures, and also for our facial expression. So how can people see our gestures and facial expressions if right at the get-go our camera angle is not on point? So that's a good point that Toastmaster Brad mentioned. Thank you, Toastmaster Brad. And for Toastmaster Flo, I would like to add a few more things, is that I was particularly glad when you mentioned a few impromptu things. For example, you related a little bit about your answer a while ago during the table topics portion, and also an answer given by Toastmaster Glo during the table topics portion. So you incorporated a little bit of impromptu in your prepared speech, which is a skill that's one tough to beat. So well done, Toastmaster Flo, and thank you for that speech that you have delivered. And I hope that you would be able to take note of all these recommendations and commendations as well that was given to you by Toastmaster Brad. And looking forward to your next project, which is delivering an evaluation. So next meeting, I will assign you as an evaluator, because for this speech, you have 3 speeches. The first speech where you were evaluated by Toastmaster John. The second speech where you were evaluated now by Toastmaster Brad. And the last speech would be delivering an evaluation yourself. So you might learn a thing or two from Toastmasters Brad's evaluation for tonight. So thank you, Toastmaster Flo, and also thank you, Toastmaster Brad. And let's give both of them a big round of applause. And next up, I would like to move on to the technical evaluation. So I'd like to call Toastmaster Emmeline for the grammarian's report. Toastmaster Emmeline.
Okay, it's my first time, so I'm not sure. I was just so smitten by all the different talks. I was listening, okay, closely to it. And one of the gems that I heard was keep moving so as not to be to harbor bacteria. So is that a hyperbole? Is that right? Is that a hyperbole?
Yes,
Okay.
Toastmaster Emeline, it is.
Okay, that's
I
great.
don't think it is. It's
Okay,
part of the
and I heard push gets to shove. Okay, is that good? No. So I think that's kind of good. Truth to be told, is that good or is that redundant? I'm not sure.
no, it's a sobriquet. Parang it's a parang idiom, something like that.
Okay. So okay.
Truth to be told
So
is right.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are some nice words that I heard. Self observation is the key to mastery. So I think that's something that's makes you ponder on it. Okay. Catch yourself of unwanted emotions. So I think that's something that's very practical. I think I like that.
Look at him. Look at him.
Listen to yourself with empathy. Okay, so these are things that I think I need to do it because I think sometimes we are so busy we don't have time to listen to ourselves. And I think that's about it. Maybe others catch some other gems. Okay, so thank you. Oh,
I was able to catch not gems though, but some germs. Okay, so a while ago I heard someone say broke him instead of broke up with him. And then I also heard a while ago here. Yeah. Tantamount of. I think it should be said tantamount to. And then the last one, it's too many details, or it should best said as there are too many details. So I only got three. Thank you.
I caught something also. Somebody said empathize ourselves. And also I heard somebody say spectated. I don't think there's such a word. Spectated.
All right. Do we have anything else to add to the grammarian's report? All right, none so far. So first up, I'd like to congratulate Toastmaster Emmeline for doing a good job as as a grammarian for tonight. First up is that you chose a word that's appropriate, ostentatious, ostentatious. So wait, is that right? Ostentatious? Is the pronunciation correct, Toastmaster
Yes.
Emmeline? Yes, all right, good. And then you presented it a while ago, and then you took note of the gems for tonight, the good uses or the quotable quotes, because what's the good of taking note of these things is that we get to reminded of this adjectives or descriptive words that could add flavor to our future speeches. And Toastmaster Emmeline, I'd like to add a few more things or a few suggestions to help you in your future stint as a grammarian. One is the grammarian's report is a speech in itself. So we start with an introduction. So what you can do is you introduce your role and reminding us the importance of the importance of your role as a grammarian. That is, so why are we doing this? Why do we need to keep track of the germs and gems? And then you move on to the content or the body of your grammarian's report or grammarian speech, where you, just like what you did a while ago, you enumerated the different gems that you caught. And then also, it is a good thing that Toastmaster Baby and Toastmaster Carmela were able to add or inject a few more germs that were also mentioned a while ago. And lastly, Toastmaster Emerlyn is also to end your grammarian's report with a conclusion or a call to action. So perhaps you can share a few tips or suggestions on how we can improve better with the use of the English language. But overall, Toastmaster Emily, not bad for being the first time grammarian for tonight. So let's give Toastmaster Emily a big round of applause as well. Yay! So next up for
Thank you.
the technical evaluations is for the accounters report. So Toastmaster Flo, were you able to take note of the different filler words? Toastmaster Flo?
Toastmaster, ayan. You're muted, Toastmaster.
You're on
Flo.
mute, Flo. There you go.
Hello?
You're on mute.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello? I wasn't able to count, but I heard a lot of us from myself. I'm sorry.
I'm also guilty.
I think around maybe like around at minimum maybe 7, yeah, from myself.
I was able to take note a few things. Toastmaster Glo, you mentioned to us, and Toastmaster Brad, in his short stay with his tonight, he had 7 ums.
Some.
And
Yes.
yes,
Ako 9. 9 sa akin.
wow, you had 9.
No,
And
I suggest you, do you have a video?
yes, I have.
Did you record it?
Yes. Miss Baby,
Yeah.
what's the 9 ums? Was it yours or Brad's?
For Brad.
Okay, for Brad. And then Flo, how many did you have?
I at minimum myself maybe 7. I heard myself.
Actually, I counted.
Wow!
You have at least 20.
At least 20. Oh, see?
The
My point,
difference.
oh.
Oh my gosh.
Earlier in my speech, I thought 7. In my speech, I said what we think about ourselves is not true. Oh. I thought 7. You said 20.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah. Thank you for counting.
So it's a good thing that somehow all of us are becoming more aware of this filler words. And the filler words, we have the as, the so, but, and the other repeated words. So just a reminder for everyone, this filler words is not limited to us and but also any other words like k, no, anything that doesn't add value to the speech. So we know that a word is a filler word if the speech or the sentence can be delivered without it. So just the way we design something, the more we stick to the essence, we stick to the what do you call this? The important ones, and do not pepper it with additional words that might be distracting to other people. So as to add to our future accounter reporters, or what we call accountants, again, the accounters report, it's always good if we remind everyone why are we doing this, why are we keeping track of these filler words, and then perhaps a few suggestions on how we can prevent or avoid this as, or any other filler words. So thank you, Toastmaster Flo. And next up is, lastly, for the technical report, I'd like to call, timers report. Toastmaster Glo for the timers report. How well were we able to make use of our time tonight?
Yes, good evening again. Ulit. Anyway, tonight's time are all within limits, except for Toastmaster Flo, who went overboard for 2 minutes. 2 minutes instead of 7, exactly 9 minutes. So for Baby and for Toastmaster Emmeline, our President Grace, during the delivery of the table topics, it's all within 1.40, 1.40, 1.35, and of course, for Toastmaster Emmeline, it's 1 minute and 36 seconds. So that's all, and congratulations for staying within the bound, within the time limit that was set. Yeah, thank you.
Yay! Thank you,
Galing.
Toastmaster Glo, for that short and sweet timers report. And good job also for preparing for your role. I've seen that you've prepared colored stuff to guide us with your timers report. So thank you, Toastmaster Glo.
Thank you.
And also thank you for being lively in your report, and also to thank you for you had a call to action at the end. So that well done. What we can do, just also suggestion is to remind us why we need to stick to the time. So perhaps you can share an experience because, for example, if you attended a certain event or a certain meeting wherein the time allotted was not followed, how did you feel as an attendee? So maybe you can share experiences just to remind us why we need to stick to the time allotted to us as speakers and as evaluators. And also, I'd like to remind for the timers that even the evaluators are timed as well. So usually
Yes.
for the table topics evaluators, they are given 1 minute per speech, and then 1 minute at the start, one minute for the introduction, and 1 minute for the conclusion. So since we had 4 speakers a while ago, so that's 4 minutes plus 2 minutes for introduction and conclusion. So that would be a total of 6 minutes
6
for
minutes.
Toastmaster Baby. And then for the other evaluations, such as prepared speech evaluations, time allotted is 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. All right, is that correct, Toastmaster Baby? 2 to 3 minutes for the evaluations?
No, I think Grace, we have to what's this research on that.
All right.
How many minutes is the evaluation for prepared and table topics? I think we have to do a research on that.
Okay, but
Can
usually
we have a meeting after this? Just a short meeting.
okay, sure. All right. So usually we allot 2 to 3 minutes or around 2 minutes for the evaluation speeches, just so we stick to the time allotted to us. All right. So that wraps up the technical evaluations and prepared speech evaluation. And overall, I'd also like to give my evaluations to the other parts of the meeting, to other role takers. For one is our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Carmela. First up is I'd like to commend Toastmaster Carmela because she has that certain energy when she was delivering her role as the table as a Toastmaster of the evening. But at the same time, I can feel the warmth, the way she speaks, the way she carries herself. So to be energetic and warm at the same time is a skill. All right. And also, Toastmaster Carmela, you were very friendly and somehow inviting, which is something new to me because I know Toastmaster Carmela and sometimes she can look or sound snobby in person because of her voice. She used to have a very high-pitched voice, but now, I don't know if because of her experience teaching or experience with Toastmaster, somehow she has improved the pitch of her voice, and also inviting in the sense that she looks composed, and I can feel that she's not that nervous and she's a bit relaxed. So well done on that, Toastmaster Carmela. My my recommendation for you in your future stint as an MC or Toastmaster of the evening is perhaps, as you started, it would have been better, since we do not have guests for tonight, it is just fitting that you didn't go through the history of Toastmasters International. What I would suggest in that case, if we don't have guests, is that we can remind us, the Toastmaster members, why are we doing this? Why was Toastmaster founded? What is the essence of being a Toastmaster? Just to remind us of these things that we are doing at the moment. So instead of mentioning the history, because as Supreme Toastmasters, we all know that, and we don't have non-Toastmaster guests, so that's okay if we skip the history, but do remind us of what is the essence of being a Toastmaster. Why was the Toastmaster founded in the first place? Just to remind us, why are we doing this, right? So thank you, Toastmaster Carmela, and looking forward to more exposure, to more of your exposure as a Toastmaster of the evening and other Toastmaster roles as well. So let's give Toastmaster Carmela a big congratulations. All right. And lastly is how the meeting went. So I'd like to congratulate everyone because we are down to the last 6 minutes and we are almost done. So for sure, we're not going to reach 9:30 or 10 o'clock tonight. And it's very important that we also stick to the time allotted. So usually we are given 2 hours each meeting. And even though sometimes I understand that we do enjoy these meetings, but we also as Toastmasters need to stick to the time allotted to us. So that is 2 hours, because we also have other things to do and it's getting late. So it's important. And we started a bit late, 7:07. So I suggest that next time, let's remind everyone. It's not just the Sergeant at Arms duty to remind everyone to start on time, but it's everyone's call to remind the President, to remind the Sergeant at Arms to make sure that our meeting starts on time. All right? So that's my take also. And I'd like to give my last evaluations or a few notes for our Anything Goes and educational talk. So Toastmaster Glo, I had fun with your Anything Goes. Yay! What a great way to liven up the dull moments. Usually it can get a bit sleepy at the start, but what you did is something that woke up my blood. It kept my blood rushing. It brought out the competitive person in me. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Toastmaster Carmela won. So, good thing for her.
Thank you
for my blueberry. It was
Okay. And also, it's a good
Congrats,
thing
Glo.
that you took extra effort in giving an extra award for our winner for tonight. So thank you and well done on that. So it's Toastmaster Baby's idea really to bring back the Anything Goes, and I was thinking we have to prioritize the educational talk. We don't have time for that. But Toastmaster Glo, you doing this wonderful Anything Goes section reminds us why we need to bring back the Anything Goes section for every Supreme Toastmasters Club meeting. So well done. That's a good way of reminding. It's a good way of reminding us that to not just be serious when it comes to public speaking, but to have fun as well. So well done, Toastmaster Glo. And
Thank you.
lastly, for our educational talk, Toastmaster Baby, what I loved about this is that you went straight to the point when it comes to evaluation. No ostentatious remarks, but you went on straight to the 3 R's, the review, reward, and respond, which are often forgotten or which are often overlooked when we are giving our evaluation. So thank you for reminding us. What I could recommend, Toastmaster Baby, is that it would have been better if you reminded us why is evaluations important in our growth or in the growth of every Toastmaster member.
I said it at the start. New speakers depend on them for information, help, and development. Long-standing speakers need them to prevent the onset of mental rust and complacency. In fact, that's my second sentence.
Yes, maybe, Miss Baby, I also remember that you mentioned that it is the lifeblood of every
That's the first.
Toastmaster.
That's the first.
Yes, that's the first. I think what I was trying to say is that you had a strong introduction where you mentioned the evaluations being the lifeblood of every Toastmaster meeting or every Toastmaster. What I would recommend is that you deliver it with better impact. So it has, the content is there, the organization is there, but it would have been better if you delivered it with louder or with vocal variety or with a more emphasis with your voice so that we would receive it with more, what you had deliver, so that you can deliver it with more candor, with more gravity on our end. And also Toastmaster Baby.
FYI, I took this from a magazine in 2007. Toastmasters magazine 2007.
Yes, and which reminds me that now that we are in the pandemic, we are now no longer receiving printed magazines. I've had a lot of it before the pandemic, but please make sure to check the Toastmasters International website. They are still publishing magazines online, and there are a lot of very valuable articles in there. So I hope that you check those. So thank you, Toastmaster Baby, for reminding us. So that's for my report as your general evaluator for tonight. And thank you to everyone, to all the members who took their role seriously, but at the same time, make sure that we have fun tonight. And we have a relatively light meeting, but I hope that we were able to take something, we were able to practice when it comes to leadership and communication, and I hope we were able to have fun as well. So thank you to all the role takers, thank you to all the members, and job well done to all of us. So I'm bringing back the virtual stage to our Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Carmela. Back to you.
You're on mute, Carmela. Please unmute.
Yeah, I'm looking for the program. I lost it. Hold on. Sorry. So thank you very much, Toastmaster President Grace, for the comprehensive evaluation of each of the speakers and acknowledging everyone who contributed to the success of tonight's meeting. So to end, before we end our fruitful Toastmaster meeting for tonight, of course, we would like to give our gratitude and honor. So we would like to call on Miss Chata is not here to give the closing prayer. So I guess I'll just do that before the adjournment. Is that correct, President Grace? All right, so I invite everyone to put ourselves in the presence of the Holy Spirit. Lord God, we praise and thank you for another fruitful meeting of tonight's Toastmaster. Thank you for the fun yet informative meeting. Bringing each and everyone here tonight for the gift of technology, such to continue to grant us with time and resources to continue on improving ourselves. The gifts that you have given us will only be cultivated when we give time and effort to this. May you keep well, everybody are at home now, but please take care of Miss Chato as she drives home to her destination. Continue to protect us from this pandemic, and we offer you the talents, the whatever growth that we gain from every meeting from this Toastmaster meeting. All honor and praises to you, O Lord God Almighty. Amen.
Amen.
Right. So we thank you for everybody. So I'll give back the I'm bringing back Toastmaster President Grace to formally end tonight's Oktoberfest meeting. No one is drunk, but obviously everybody is high with new knowledge, especially on how we can improve our evaluation. Back to you, Toastmasters.
All right, so before we end, I'd like to call Toastmaster Ariel to tell us who is the winner for tonight's table topic speeches. So I believe he has compiled the votes for tonight. So Toastmaster Ariel, I give you the liberty to announce who is the winner for the table topic speeches for tonight. Best table topic speech for tonight.
Yes, table topic is Miss Ameline.
Wow!
Thank you, thank you.
Yes, Miss Ameline.
Thank you. It was the easiest topic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When you use
Congratulations,
the
Toastmaster
Bible,
Emeline.
Huh?
let's use the Bible always as an example.
Thank
So
you.
well done, Toastmaster Emeline. I think it's your second time winning the table topics portion. So
I
I'm
think so.
looking forward to hearing your prepared speech next meeting perhaps. The next
What?
meeting is November. So I expect that Toastmaster Glo and perhaps Toastmaster Emeline are prepared as well to deliver your icebreaker speeches. So we're looking forward to that. All
When
right?
is that? When is that? Next week?
November, yeah, next week.
Wow, we have 1
meeting.
week to prepare.
Yes, we have a meeting next week, November 3. So we have a few more days to prepare. Don't worry, it's an icebreaker speech. Your topic is the most comfortable topic to discuss, which is yourself, any story, any facet of your life. So it's relatively
How many
easy.
minutes? How many minutes?
4 to 6 minutes.
Let's adjourn the meeting and then let's talk about it later, please.
All right. So as the president of Supreme Toastmasters Club and by the power vested in me by Toastmasters International, this meeting is now adjourned. Good night, everyone, and thank you for your time and cooperation. Good night. Happy Oktoberfest.
Bye.
Wait a minute, Grace, let's
Yes.
appoint them not to be, who will be the next Toastmaster of the evening.